Greetings and welcome to Studio 125 Local Business Highlight. I am here today with the beautiful Miss Karen Gordon. How are you?
I am wonderful today. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here and to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Well, definitely gratitude for coming out and sitting down with us here at Studio 125. It is definitely a pleasure to be beside Miss Karen Gordon, the world renowned Karen Gordon. Okay.
I am renowned on my street. I am. That is it in my house. That's about it.
Oh, what?
But
Everybody
thank you.
loves Karen Gordon. Okay.
I appreciate
But
it.
however, just like me, there are others that are new to the area.
hmm
And for those who don't know who Karen Gordon is, why don't you give us a little bit of info about who Karen Gordon is?
All right. Well, I am first and foremost, I am the Empress of Cool. And that needs no explanation. I'm not sure if I could explain that anyway. I mean, that's just who I am. I'm a musician, I'm a wife and a mother, a community activist of sorts. Did I say musician?
You
I'm
did.
now a newspaper publisher too. So I am a lover of all things good and wonderful.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And that sounds
hmm
absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank
But
you.
I did catch something in there
Okay.
that I felt like it's just a little watered down. Like you
Okay.
said that you're just a publisher. You're more than just a
Oh,
publisher.
yeah. Well, I do a lot of stuff. Um, I do a lot of different things because
Right.
I have a little touch of ADHD, I'm sure, but I think it is what makes me special. I think so. Um, but yeah, I just started about 9 or 10 months ago to publish a community newspaper, free paper, Urban Pro Weekly,
Urban Pro Weekly.
and we publish it bi-weekly. Interestingly enough, and it's about the community. It's for the community. It's about amplifying our voices, young people, young old. Just it's something for our people to uplift our community.
So when I think about the new owner of
Mhm.
Urban Pro Weekly,
Mhm.
is you. Like you're the owner of this newspaper, right?
Yeah.
This is huge. I have a copy here of Urban Pro Weekly. Please, wherever you guys see these at, pick them up and grab these. You are supporting our community
Yeah.
through a very, very well renowned way of getting information out via the media.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then to have the tangible paper, and then it can also be found online as well.
Yes. Yes.
So Urban Pro Weekly has so many different things that are inside of it. You have different local businesses highlighted here inside of the newspaper. Are you
Yeah.
also writing as well?
I um I do a little bit of writing, but I'm really one of my goals with, moving forward is to connect with some local and regional content creators. So um I'll write a few of the articles, but what I do mostly is pull everything together.
Right.
So if there's any like hot button topic or something that's ongoing, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, our issues are ongoing, whether it's about politics or business or arts. So my background is as a musician. That's my formal training is in public relations and communications, but I've been a musician forever. So I'm particularly in tune to the arts community in this area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always going to be top of mind for me.
Okay.
Um, and to give a little bit of backstory about the paper, we just formed a publishing agreement in March of 2021.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And just officially purchased the paper in December of 2021. So, um, but the previous the founder is Mr. Fred Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
He started this paper back in 2011. So when we got involved in it, this was the 10th year, and he was moving to a place where he was wanting to retire, and his paper, his all of his publications. He's been in the publishing business for about 40 years now. So he's got he started U.P.W.
Mm-hmm.
He also formed the City Tribune Weekly. He was an editor in chief of the Augusta Focus back in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he's been in the game for a minute. And when he let me know that that he was considering retiring, and that he may be interested in moving in a different direction. So um, I had no intention of publishing a newspaper. Like, I guess it was Hattie McDaniel's character on Gone with the Wind say, I don't know nothing about birthing no babies. So, know nothing about doing this, but he's still with me in the process, right? So he does
Mm-hmm.
like all of the heavy lifting. He does the layout. If I have questions, he's available to help me with that because he is this is his thing now.
He's
My
still like a mentor in this
yeah,
process. Okay.
he's definitely my mentor in this. So whenever I have questions, whenever I want to use I don't know if I can use adult words on this podcast.
You please speak as freely as you
When I
feel.
want to be like, forget the whole thing, he he's available. When I if I'm wait to the last minute to send something in, he's like cool. He's like he's like cool as hell.
Right.
So um and he's my music of choice is jazz, right?
Mm-hmm.
So within that genre, improvisation is paramount. It
Right.
is the one thing that is consistent. It's the one thing that's different about other genre, different than or different from other genres of music. Is that improvisation is expected. It's something that's
Gotcha.
built into that whole thing. So he kind of reminds me. He's a huge jazz fan. He reminds me of I mean he incorporates all of that too. So if I like throw something at him, he's like, okay, cool, and he's an ideal partner for it because he's an ideal partner for me with this, which is interesting because I'd never seriously considered like publishing a paper. He and I had conversations over the past 5 to 7 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd never considered doing it myself.
Right.
You
But you
know,
guys sound like you have a great relationship here and a lot of relatability, especially with being able to
yeah,
relate your jazz to
yeah,
the paper.
yeah,
And it sounds like it keeps it fresh. It
hmm
keeps you on your toes.
definitely,
Because this is it's a new walk for you. And whenever
yes,
you are approaching and doing something new,
hmm
it it's a different feeling each time, but it's exciting too, right?
it really is. There's something about like that feeling of like stepping out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Um, it's like scary as hell,
Mhm.
but it's in those times and those spaces that you really grow as an individual
That's
and
right.
grow in business too. So like choosing to do this, I thought it was like I thought it was hella important because one, I didn't want to see the paper go away,
Right.
and at the same time, I'm like, well, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to solve the problem. I mean, is it a problem? I don't know, but but we've worked through it. I mean,
Right.
we started to have conversations about the paper probably in the summer of 2020, and so the fall of 2020. And I think he had mentioned, would you consider taking it over? And I was like, I mean, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to, but there was like so much that went down in 2020,
Right.
right? There was so much like bullshit that went down in 2020, and the media was a tremendous part of that.
Mm.
So
Mm.
so uh, being in that space and like witnessing that, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
witnessing of course there was a pandemic. There was COVID-19. I'm a musician, so from March of 2020 until, I'm just gonna say until,
Right.
I was out of work. I didn't have no. I was done. You know, um, and that's like that's where my money comes from, is in live music performances, whether it's
Mhm.
mine, whether they're mine or someone else's, or am I booking something for somebody else. So when that went away, we like had to figure some shit out,
Right.
and it was like damn near impossible to do so. So there's that. Then there's a whole George Floyd thing, and there's like being at home. So I started like really gardening, not because I knew what I was doing,
Mhm.
but I had to do something.
Something.
And it was the thing that kind of brought me back to center. It was so difficult. It wasn't just that it was difficult for me,
Right.
but like my brother, who is like my hero, he really had a hard time with that whole time. He's 2 years older than me. He's a black man, and he he was really, and he's got sons too, like I do.
Right.
He really struggled with that, and so it was difficult enough for me, but like watching him struggle,
Mhm.
it just really, really messed with me. So I, um, I just started planting. I mean, just putting seeds in the dirt. Whether they came up or not, I wasn't concerned about that. But I had to do something to just take my mind off of what was happening.
But
And
you know what that was though, right?
what's that?
You're grounding at that point.
Yeah,
You're woman
yeah,
connecting back to Mother Earth. You're finding peace, and you're taking that energy
yeah,
and you're putting it back into the earth,
yeah,
and you're touching and you're getting in there.
yeah.
And when you do that, you're making your ground sacred. I,
Mm,
I, I can promise you that you are.
yeah.
Because out here, going through the time of trauma that I was dealing with, I feel like this land saved my life.
Mm, yes.
It saved my life being able to walk it and ground and take my shoes off, put my hands in the dirt. Honey, I killed like 3 gardens. The only thing that survived me was some damn collard
Let me
greens.
tell you. I know, and I
And it was just
remember.
one patch.
Yes, I remember when we were out here walking, and you were saying that. You were sharing that with me and Brandy. I understand that completely,
Yeah.
because during that time it was just so much
Right.
from not know. And here's the thing, when I walked in, I said I understand. I come from a place of privilege. I understand that. So I never I never felt like I was gonna go hungry. I knew that.
Mhm.
I knew that because my family is here, and I know how to work now. But I couldn't do things for other people, and that
Mm.
that like took me out. not being able to do what I feel like I'm here to do, and that is to provide support for other folks. So being in a space where I couldn't do that, I didn't know where I fit in. So
Right.
so there was that time. That was my brother's birthday is around that. That whole thing went down on, I think it was May 26th or something, right around there. It was Memorial Day weekend. It was Memorial Day that happened. My brother's birthday is a couple of
Mm.
days after that, and it was just turmoil, and things just like went um, haywire. Just continued to spiral downward after that. So we continued to try to just try to figure it out, try to work through it musically,
Mhm.
and it was just difficult to do. And so when it was, like I said, I never felt like I was going to um, be out on the street or not be able to. I never had
Right.
that issue. We're talking about the newspaper now. So when Fred Benjamin asked me, he was working on a project, an art project,
Mhm.
because art is my thing, and he was reaching out to the public, and he wasn't really getting the kind of response. So I offered to assist in whatever way that I could, and it still didn't turn out the way that he wanted. So it was then he said, "Hey, would you consider taking over this paper? I'm looking to move in a different direction, whatever." So I was like, "Nope." Um,
Straight up.
I'm like, "No,
Uh-uh.
I don't think I'm
Gotcha.
I'm still trying to figure out my life right now."
Right.
And but then as we got closer to election season and things, just I mean the messages that were just being put out into the atmosphere, and then of course social media tends to be an echo chamber and all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. So we and I feel like as artists and creatives, we have a unique way of processing
Mhm.
the universe, and then devising solutions to our world's problems, right?
Right.
So so I seriously considered like doing something to keep this paper going, and I didn't know whether that was going to be me or not. Um, but I felt like if we couldn't find, I say something I say a lot is, if we can't find anybody better, then I'll do it. So I felt like somebody had to do something to keep this vehicle alive, because the UPW is not just about politics. I mean, politics is important.
Right.
It is important. Business, but then this paper has always come from an artistic point of view. It has always
Mm.
celebrated artists. It is all, whether we're talking music, dance, drama, visual art. Art always has a place. Writing, photography. It always has always had a place in UPW, because that's in the DNA of Fred Benjamin.
Gotcha.
So I felt like I could call some folks, call up some people, and make sure that we kept this going
Mhm.
for the artists, because about 5, 6, 7 years ago, I had a conversation with Mr. Benjamin about selling it,
Mhm.
because we wanted it to be just like an arts publication,
Hmm.
just about Augusta arts, regional
That's
arts, but
dope.
specifically to focus on Augusta artists. So I knew that I could do that part, but then the
Mhm.
rest of it, I wasn't exactly sure how we were going to do that. And just as so um, we we said we were going to start in January. Then we kind of pushed it back. We said we weren't able to get started then, and then I was like, um, we gotta do something. We gotta do
Mhm.
something. We gotta move on it, even if it's wrong, and we'll just build a parachute on the way down, kind of
Right.
thing.
Keep going. Enhance it.
And so we started our first. issue was on March the 4th of last year. We've changed printers since then. We're still figuring it out, but um, I think it's I think it's one of the most important important things I've ever done.
It is. And one thing I believe is that your path is already laid for you, right?
Yeah,
You attracted this to you. This came to you because it's yours. It was already yours.
yeah,
And Mr. Fred had seen it,
yeah,
and he's seen that in you. And now I kind of get the feeling that you finally see it within yourself, though.
yeah,
And the talent and everything of importance that you bring, because pointing out something that is so serious, because music is pretty much the soul of this city. Music, art, not just music, art
right.
is the soul of this city. It's so much art. Just you could go down Broad Street by just visually, first
Yeah,
and foremost, the
yeah,
art that beautifies different places here in the city. The music that has been created here. I promise you, the only thing that Augusta is missing is literally being able to walk down the street and hear live instruments, kind of like in New Orleans, like that New
mm-hmm,
Orleans feel right there. Because
yeah,
when I look at Augusta, that's what I think. That's what I think that it needs, where
yeah.
you can just. Because I love live instruments. I'm just be real with you.
Okay,
I love instruments. They speak to me in so many different ways. And heard you was pretty wicked with them fingers on that piano.
okay. I do a little, you know,
A little something,
a
something.
little something, something. But I'm, I'm glad we're talking about music. We're talking about the business and the music. I think one of the things that our creative artists need a little push with and a little support with is the business of being an artist. So
Right, right,
whether it is from because and that's something that artists need across the board, right?
right,
Whether we talking about what's being taught in the classrooms,
hmm
um, in elementary and high, and then post secondary, and then post that. What we're not teaching our artists is how to run a bit, how to get paid as an artist. That's
right.
something that very few schools are teaching unless they are just like Full Sail or something like that.
Right, they're paid
Yeah,
schools.
yeah,
But
but
that's something that can be hosted, like something that you did when you supported the young lady for the farmers and teaching them about the business aspect of things.
mhm,
Having something that will cater to these artists to
yeah,
where they can get that knowledge and that support because
yeah,
they need it,
true,
and having that intellect
yeah,
and to be able to help others is it's an amazing feeling for one to
mhm,
be able to pour into others and provide that knowledge that you have.
yeah.
So maybe let's get with
Let's
somebody. Let's
do it.
figure this thing out. I know
That's
we had a some young gentlemen here that were willing to
mhm.
do some teaching of the business with artists and things of that nature, but we can definitely do some collaborations on some stuff.
Okay,
And I do
that
want to
sounds
point
good.
out too that anybody, any creative content writers or anything, we attract. So we're gonna attract and pull you to Karen because we're
Mhm.
looking. Look, we need content creators
That's right.
out here.
We do.
Get
We
some extra
do.
hands so we can get this thing built up and you need a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse because
We
what you're doing is
do.
huge.
We need an entire team for it. I think, and what's really interesting. I keep going back to Fred Benjamin because he's the guy who got this whole thing started.
Okay.
Is that he's been, like I said, he's been in the business for the journalism, the publishing business for several decades.
Hmm.
So so he knows like the ins and outs of running a newspaper. So when he said, would you consider doing this? He said, "Oh, she said it's easy. It'll be easy for you. You know a lot of people. You got a good head about yourself. It'll be easy." And I was like, And I actually believed that. I was like, wait, hold up, that's not. It's easy for you because you've been doing. It's just like the music business.
Right.
Something you're really great at. It's of course it comes easily to you because that's your
Right.
thing. But like you said earlier, I feel a lot more confident about it now. I'm not as freaked out as I was um, when we started. I still have I still have my moments, but Mr. B, he does the layout, and there are times when I call him or I message him and be like, I just don't have it this week. just I don't have none of it this week, so I'm gonna need for you to throw a Hail Mary pass and make the whole thing happen for me. And he'll say, I mean, our last issue of the year was that I was like, I ain't got it, and so he said, let's do a compilation of the best of 2021.
Hmm.
And he pulled the whole thing together and sent it to me and said, what do you think? I was like, all right. And so we sent it on
That's
over to
it.
the publisher. I mean, it's a new thing. I mean, it's a new thing. It's a reinvention of some sort,
Right.
and I have an opportunity to do something different or to serve the community in a different way.
So we're just gonna call that synchronicity.
All right.
Divinity happens. It's your
Yeah.
path. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. So the thing I have for you, just enjoy it. Enjoy it and enjoy it some more and enjoy it some more. And in the words of Miss Brandy Wallace,
Yeah.
have fun
Have
every day.
fun every
Every
day.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every day.
And I'm embracing that now, um, because I see it differently.
Mm.
I mean, 2020, look, 2020 was a hell of a year. I mean, I thought that thing was going to take me all the way out. But if it didn't take you out, it should definitely have made you stronger. So, and I know that's like cliche, but um, what what I'm coming up when I find myself coming up against or struggling with what I've learned over the past 18 months
Mm-hmm.
is that um, I find myself in a different space. I don't even know how to really articulate this. I'm finding I'm in a different space because I had to be,
Right.
as opposed to folks whose lives were never ever disrupted. Right? So
Mm.
so
Right.
if you consider like if you look at y'all are homeschooling, so you don't have kids in public
I
school.
do. We have two in college
Okay.
and we have a senior in high school at Hepzibah. And
Okay.
we took our baby girl out and we decided to unschool her.
Okay.
We didn't remove the senior because he only had a few months left when we
Yeah.
decided to just full fledge this thing and
Yeah.
just ride out the homeschool because we believe in that unschooling and our kids learning everything that they need to learn
Yeah.
so that they can be productive in life.
Got you. Got you. So the school system, whether it's like where Scooter's in private school,
Mhm.
and um, last year he was at a Montessori school,
Mhm.
but he hasn't been in the Richmond County public schools yet. My own personal opinion is that our systems are so hell bent on getting back to normal, getting back to whatever normal is or was, that we can't see where we are right now.
The progression.
We can't see that. So I'm like, okay, you don't understand. Just a tiny example of that is like when we were doing learn from home,
Mhm.
because we live out in the country. We're getting these systems together so our kids can learn from home, but we can't
Right.
connect
Mm.
to the grid or
Right.
whatever. And how are we going to do these lessons? And so if the only thing that we can see as educators is that we gotta get our kids to do these lessons from home, but we're not paying attention to the fact that these kids can't even get online because of the infrastructure or whatever, or how how are these lessons serving our kids?
Yeah, that's that one. The how
Right.
are these lessons serving our that one
Cause,
right
cause,
that
because
stretch right there is
because they
my
are not.
concern. Correct, because they're teaching them stuff that just goodness gracious makes no sense. We still teaching these kids about slavery, but why?
And
But
we teaching them
why?
wrong stuff about slavery.
Facts or
We
the
te-
presidents, but why?
right, right. So how is it that we and I understand. I mean, I get it because for a certain group of people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but for a certain subset of our population, when COVID hit, nothing changed.
Mm,
They
that's true.
still back in the norm of 2019. They
Hmm.
still everything is still going on as planned. You ain't never lost a day of work. You never lost no income. You never had to change anything.
Right,
You only had a minor, maybe a minor inconvenience of having to have your kids learn from home because the school closed.
right.
But we're in a whole different thing now. Not just because COVID happened, but we're seeing things now that we needed to have seen years ago.
Like the food for one.
Right.
Because they created a hell of a food issue.
Right.
But you're solving some good stuff with farmers. So we're going to have to
Yeah.
talk about that stuff too. We're going to
Okay.
have to get into that on at another time because you're doing some amazing things dealing with farmers market because you have saved our life multiple times with
Oh,
going down to market because of the things that you are doing with these farmers. So let's
oh,
just be real here
yeah.
because you have created yourself
Yeah.
have created some absolutely amazing outlets for our cities and possibilities for
Yeah.
this city alone.
Yeah. And that thank you for that. That comes with that comes with more mentorship. So that effort came out of several dozen conversations with Loretta Adderson of
Mm,
Adderson's Fresh Produce in Keysville. Prior to COVID, you know, that's when shit happens,
right.
or happened, or has happened. Just having conversations with them about being able to. My goal with starting growing Augusta was um, to just create some food assets in South Richmond County,
Hmm.
right? Because um, the other company, Augusta Locally Grown, some other folks were not doing anything. We're not creating any. Um, weren't putting any effort in South Augusta. Let's just say what it is.
Be real. Right.
And so we received a grant from Georgia Organics to build capacity in South Richmond County. So the Addersons, even though their farm is in Keysville, it's in Burke County. Um, they live right down the street off of Windsor Spring Road. They live in the area. They live in South
Hmm.
Augusta. Um, Urban Grange lives off of Brown Road. So these black farmers. Carla Walker at the time, who was my partner at the time, lived in South Augusta.
Hmm.
Anything that they were going to try to make this brief. All of those folks who were growing and selling in these markets, they got to take their stuff over to. They got to take it downtown. Sell
Hmm.
their vegetables downtown. They got to take their vegetables to Evans, to Columbia County, to the
Hmm.
neighboring county. They got to take their stuff to Deering or Waynesboro, um, or in the urban core on Laney Walker. But these folks live in South Augusta,
All right.
right? So, and South Augusta we got food insecurity like a mug in South Augusta,
Especially these grocery stores.
especially
They're
that.
terrible.
Yes, they are. And so we just we just we're trying to build to build capacity, and what does that mean? That means just provide support for folks who have a product, want to develop a product, want to develop a business, and then build a network between those. So that also started in um, 2018. We got the grant in 2018. What I wanted to do initially, I wanted to put up a whole bunch of community gardens. I thought that was like easy. You do that,
Right.
and it's not.
Well, I think with awareness, when once people are aware that they
Yeah.
have the opportunity to be able to feed their families and learn how to grow food. That's something that we're doing here,
Mhm.
especially with the upcoming grow season. Getting people out here, you can go and you can purchase seeds, fruit trees, the seedlings with food stamps now, and
Yeah.
you can get out here. Even if you live in the projects, get you some flower pots. Put your food in the ground. You can always tell the old women that done been there for years. They got flowers everywhere. Take the flowers out and put some food in the ground,
Right.
and you can grow your food. But
Right.
what they'll learn this thing, it has to be a thing now. We
Right.
got to learn how to be self-sustainable.
Right.
Oh, they
We
coming.
do. And I know it's going to, and but what the thing that I wanted to do back in, back when I first kind of started with the whole growing thing, um I I just felt like as long as you I thought the most difficult part of it was the land acquisition part.
Mhm.
And that's actually the easiest part of starting of growing food. The
Mhm.
easiest part is getting your hands on some land. Now, I'm not talking about getting your hands on 15, 20, 100 acres. You don't need that. You really
Right.
only need you can use the little sidewalk, little parkway in front of the house. You can use your like containers,
Right.
grow inside the house, grow in the kitchen, grow on the patio, the deck, or whatever. Um, and so I just started to ask like I do with the paper now. I just started to ask a whole bunch of questions. I mean, explain this to me like I'm a 6 year old because I don't understand. Tell me
Mm.
how you're doing this. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you're. Tell me how I can help. And if I can't help, then I can surely find someone or identify somebody that can help with this. And so, but I've been as a musician, I've been programming the music at the Saturday Market for 12 or 13 years
Mhm.
now. So I have that as an always as an outlet on, 37, 38 weeks of the year. So what we did last year, after weeks and weeks of weeping and gnashing of teeth, is we got actually Brandy was the one. Brandy and Wallace's Farm was the catalyst that really brought that area of the Saturday market together for me because um, brief backstory.
Mhm.
Having programmed the music for the market, I have an area on the main breezeway, and then the area down by the Riverwalk, which is where we were last year. And we had some issues with electricity and power and infrastructure that did not allow us to be in the other section.
Mhm.
So we had to do everything at the stage. And so the stage, we eventually just took over that whole area down by the Riverwalk. It worked out better, but
It's beautiful.
I didn't see that one coming because I was pissed. I was pissed for the first 3 months of the market. I was like, "This is some bullshit right here." I'm like, cause there was nothing down there, and but because I managed the space, I had to be down there. So once the Wallaces started coming up, they were
Mhm.
there, every week. So then
Right.
I didn't have to come down there anymore. I for the first couple of months, I came to make sure that they had everything they needed,
Mhm.
and then they had it. I was like, y'all good? So I just stay at the house, and they have that whole area down there by themselves. So
Well,
and we
it's
do a couple of cooking demos.
mm,
So, and and what I what I did notice, I mean, it's a cool thing also, but we need to do some work. We, as in the city, need to do some work on that site. We need to fix the staging, and we need to fix the power, and that's an ongoing battle with the city,
mm,
unfortunately. But it's, it is what it is. It keeps me in touch with my people.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
you
Cause
call
I
your
tell you, we
commissioner, be
go
like,
out there, we
yeah.
and enjoy. So yeah, please call your commissioners. What you say? They look up your commissioner because you mentioned that. You
Mhm.
put that information out there where people can get out there and find the commissioners, how to contact them. We're in the super district down here, so we have to.
Mhm.
Um, so definitely
Yeah.
being able to reach out, and we're learning a little bit more about the political side of things, because now we're business owners. When we were just residents, we just moved through,
Yeah.
make sure we handled our business, just move through. But now we're able to see another side of things and
Mhm.
see how important it is to keep that communication and make sure our voices are heard.
It
Because
really
once
is.
our voices are heard in numbers, it makes us
Right.
stronger. And
Right.
that's what that village is, our
Right.
voices in numbers.
Yeah.
So,
And to do so consistently too. So
right,
it can
right.
be tedious. It can be tedious, definitely. Um, making calls or sending text messages or emails, and then you have to wait, and then folks don't call you back and that kind of thing. But you find out who your people are that you can call and get like an immediate response. So
Mhm.
even though you're in District 8, I imagine, and that puts you in Super District 10. You have two people that you can call on, but if you have issues getting in touch with those people, you can always call anybody else,
Okay.
and they all, even though you have, you know your commissioner is your person. He's supposed to represent, he or she, but yours both men. They supposed to represent your interest, but none of those commissioners can get anything done without a majority.
Gotcha.
So they have to work together as a team. So if your person don't give you what you want, just keep going down that go down that list. Be like, okay, that's cool.
Well, gratitude. That's definitely some information that everybody needs to know.
Mhm.
Um, well, I do want to just thank you again, for coming out, to sit down, talk, share so much information, just to share yourself,
Thank you.
um, to open up and be in that vulnerable stage to where you can really let people see inside of what happened with you, because everybody has their story about what happened around those times and how it affected them, if it even affected them.
Yeah.
um but you were able to do that, and just look at you though,
I
it
appreciate
came out with some fire.
listen.
You came out with some fire.
I appreciate you letting me come over here and be crying and snotting
We
all on your
good. That's what the
podcast,
Kleenex
man.
for. That's what the Kleenex for. We got you. We got you.
I'll have to message my sister, be like, the crying Gordons have struck again. That's all
I
right
got
though,
you.
cause
No doubt.
it's like really serious to me. And now that I always say I'm a woman of a certain age, so I'm grateful that I'm able to sit and share, you know, my story, and to be um opening up. I'm grateful for y'all for opening up your platform for me to share that, because I think it's a great platform. It's great to be able to share, and I appreciate the work that y'all are doing here
Gratitude.
in the universe. So thank you.
Gratitude. We're definitely looking to continue to build our platform to support our people, support our businesses, support the artists, get voices out, so that they can be shared with the world. And exactly what you're looking to do with your print media
Mhm.
is literally what this platform is about. Like how I referenced the Panthers, my husband did his research. I've
Okay.
done my research, and that is our belief and
Yeah.
to support our people. So we are out here ready to have that solid foundation and get this village together of like spirited individuals so we can come together, we can work together, and we can really rise up. And that's what it's about. Again, gratitude for you, and I appreciate you on this path and for being the person that you are in this moment. So definitely gratitude.
Thank
um,
you.
I'm going to go ahead and sign us out and bring it back. Thank you for tuning in to Studio 125's local business highlight. Again, I am your host, Natasha Jonelle, here with Miss Beautiful Karen Gordon. I want to say thank you all for tuning in and peace out.